So perspective is everything in life. This was something that I never used to realize, or that I never used to think about. It's easy to not be aware of the ways in which you're thinking. It's arguably easier to just unconsciously be thinking in ways that are negative and having like a negative outlook on things. For example, if you work part-time and you dread it so much, to somebody who works full-time, they would be like, that's light work, like that's nothing. So that's why, like, it's good to have perspective. I got a haircut, so my hair feels short to me. Like, I know it's not short, but it feels a lot shorter than it felt before. It feels a lot shorter than it felt before. So, but to somebody who had short hair, they would see my hair as long, So that's another perspective. Or if you're somebody who only sees things as black and white, many things in life are not black and white. To have like such a black and white ways of thinking about everything would be to really have a closed off mind, to not be receptive to other points of view, I guess. If you're so set in the ways of certain things, how can you grow? How can you expand your knowledge or grow as a person? If your perspective on life is just that it's terrible, or that it's hard, or that it's only gonna get worse, or that it just whatever, if you're like so set in thinking that way, then how is it gonna get better? How is it going to change for the better? If you're just like perceiving things as bad or as negative, then of course that's what they are. Because, that's your perception of things, so that is your reality. If you're like, I want to think more positively, I want to, see the good in the world, I want to choose to consume positive content, or be around people who are positive, then that's an active choice. And then you start, changing your perspective and changing your reality, and your reality does become better. And when you become like grateful for smaller things and more mundane things, and you stop always chasing like the next big thing. I was finding myself feeling bored of things, or feeling like when I would reach a goal, it would not feel as like fulfilling or as satisfying as I thought that it would. And I thought maybe that's just getting older, but I don't want to believe that that's true. I don't want to believe that that is just what getting older is. I think that it's about perspective, not about what's going on necessarily. Like this time last year, it was not easy, like an easy time. But I had decided that I wanted to change my perception of life. And so I was like actively every single day trying to change and low-key rewire my brain, like how I thought about the world, how I thought about life, and how I thought about all of that. And although it wasn't a like easy time, I managed to make it in the moment feel like it wasn't that bad, or like it was good even, honestly. Like, and I just felt so much better. Even though now looking back, I realized like how like it was low-key kind of tough, but in the moment, by just changing my perspective, I was able to feel like it really was good. Or at least it wasn't that bad. So your perspective is really powerful, and your thoughts are really powerful in that way. And I know this is like an old saying, but if you see the glass as half full or as half empty, that's such an old saying, and it was one that I never really like cared about. I was like, so what? But I think it still holds up. And I mean, that really is literally all of what life is about. You know, whether you're seeing the glass as half empty or half full, you can always see the glass as half empty. Just like you can always see the glass as half full. If you're constantly wanting more and nothing is ever enough, then, you know, that's all it will ever be. You'll always just want more, nothing will ever be enough, and you'll just always be unsatisfied and always chasing like the next best thing or the next dopamine rush or hit or whatever. And that's literally just what like social media is. It's constantly just chasing the next dopamine hit or whatever, and just over and over and over and over again. It's like, that's why I really have cut it out recently. Like recently I've just been so bored of it. Like I will go days and not have used social media, and I don't and you don't miss it. Like I don't miss it at all. I don't know, I found it really unsatisfying to use because I just was constantly looking for the next social media post that was gonna make me feel nice, and it just became very unsatisfying. And I just realized I got to a point where none of it was making me feel any like happiness. So even the funny stuff, the only reason I was finding it funny was because I was just having brain rot, and I was finding literal, like, the most unfunny things funny. Seeing the glass as half empty, you know, it would be easy to do that, and it would be easy just to go about, you know, life just seeing the glass as half empty. You know, there's things you can find. You can find anything to complain about. It's so easy to complain. What is arguably, you know, more, I don't want to say difficult, but you have to like put in the effort to be like, to be looking for the good. And, you know, when you do, you start seeing more good because that's what you're focusing on. When you're focusing on the negative, you're going to see more negative. When you're focusing on the good, you're going to see more of that. And I don't want to say that it's hard to do. I just think that it's not as encouraged to do. That's why I can feel like it's more difficult. But seeing the glass as, you know, half full, there really is so much to be grateful for. And I think that it's also really easy to find things to be grateful for and find things that are positive. And I know I just said it's easy to find things to complain about, but I think it's just as easy to find things to be grateful for. I think it just is about how you're perceiving the world and what you're choosing to focus on, you know? And when you start focusing on, the good, you're going to start seeing more good things because, like I said, that's what your focus is, and that's what your reality is become. Also, not everything is all or nothing, and I've tended to have an all or nothing mindset, I guess, about certain things, and I don't really know why. Like, about working out, I have an all or nothing mindset when it comes to working out, and I don't think I'm alone in this. Like, if like I one day I'm like not feeling like working out, say I don't feel like going on like an hour walk, which I like to do regularly, and if I don't feel like doing that one day, I'm like, well, I could just go for half an hour, but then I'm like, no, if I'm not gonna go for the whole hour, I'm not gonna go at all, because it's not the full amount of time that I want to go, but I don't want to go for the full amount of time. So then I just end up not going at all, because it's not the full amount of time. Like, I'm having an all or nothing mindset. Like, either I'm doing the full hour or I'm not going at all. And it's kind of illogical, and I don't know why I've had this tendency to think of things like that. It doesn't really make any sense, because obviously it's better to just go for half an hour than to just not do it at all. Even if it's not as long as I would like to be going for a walk, I'm still going for a walk. And so I'm still trying to be, motivated and keeping my routine and whatever. Yeah, it's so much better just to literally 15 minutes, a half an hour, 20 minutes, than to just completely skip. Sometimes you have to skip it, but if I have the time to do it and whatever, I should just do the 20 minutes, the 30 minutes, or if you're like, I'm gonna try to eat healthy from now on, every single day, I'm gonna eat healthy, maybe with the exception of one day a week or something. I'm just gonna eat really, really healthy. And then one day you eat something unhealthy, and you're like, it's not on a day where you wanted to eat unhealthy, so you just kind of self-sabotage, and you're like, no, okay, I ate this one unhealthy thing, I might as well eat this other unhealthy thing and this other unhealthy thing, and just screw eating healthy today. And then it's like, okay, well, screw eating healthy the next day too, and the day after that, and it just goes into a cycle. Instead of being like, okay, well, I ate this unhealthy thing, I can just eat something healthy next. And it doesn't have to be everything doesn't have to all go to shit, I've been trying to not have this mindset of all or nothing recently, and it's actually a lot better. I don't know, it feels better to think about things like that, to think about things as well, I'll just do a shorter amount of time today of going on a walk, it's not that big of a deal, or I eat something unhealthy, whatever, it happens. It's really about, moderation too, and and balance. Another perspective is when, say, you're running late, and then there's traffic, and so you're running even more late or something, or the traffic is gonna make you late. And I always think that, maybe the reason that I'm stuck in traffic or something is because, maybe that's preventing me from getting into an accident, or, it's protecting me from something happening. And so I choose to not get upset, oh, I'm stuck in traffic right now, I'm so pissed off. And I just choose to think of it oh, well, maybe I'm being protected instead. Maybe this is actually a blessing, and I'm not just having a bad day and I'm having bad luck. Maybe my luck is working towards me, actually. Maybe my luck is actually working for me instead of against me. Even though it may not feel like it is working for you, it doesn't always have to feel like it is. Things happen, we don't really understand why. And it may feel like it's working against you in the moment, but this is an eyeliner, by the way. It may feel like it's working against you in the moment, but in the grand scheme of things, it's actually working for you. There was this one quote that I love so much, and it's always stuck with me ever since I heard it years ago. It's about a dog. A dog is begging their owner for food. They're sitting by their owner's feet while their owner is making food, and they're begging for the food, and giving their owner the sad puppy dog eyes, and they just, they want so badly the food that, their person has. But, the person, their owner is like, I'm not going to give you this food because I know that it's bad for you, and I'm protecting you by not giving this to you, even though the dog wants it so bad. And the dog doesn't understand that getting that is actually not good for it, and it's not for the dog's best interest. You're kind of playing like the role of like God in a way to your dog in like that scenario, or the universe. You're kind of like, it's a metaphor for that. Like, maybe you want something really bad, but there's like a reason why you don't have it, or there's a reason why things aren't playing out like how you would expect them to play out so that you can have it. There's been things that I've thought that I really wanted. I'm putting this eyeliner down. There's been things that I thought that I wanted, like, very, very much, and in the moment, and then looking back, and then like time passes, and then looking back, and like now in hindsight, I'm like so glad that I did not get what I thought that I wanted in that moment. Because I have the perspective now that actually was not what was best for me. But, in the moment it felt like a slap in the face. Because I didn't get what I wanted, I ended up really trying to work on myself, because I thought if I did, then I would end up being able to get, I guess, what I wanted. My reasonings for working on myself were not the best reasons. But, after starting to work on myself and to like change how I perceive things, and to stop looking at the negative and start looking at the positive and all of that, and like just change my perspective, like in doing all of that, despite what my initial motivations were, I ended up realizing I actually don't even want what I thought that I wanted. Like, and I ended up continuing to think about things like positively, and keeping this new perspective that I had been trying to, work on and develop. And I ended up continuing to do this and have this for myself instead of like for somebody else. That's why I continued to do it, and continue to work on myself, and continue to do all that. And I continue for myself despite my initial motivations not being for myself, like being for another person. And then I realized I don't want this person. Like, I really feel like in that I found what I really do value, and I've realized, in hindsight now, that wasn't gonna work. That wasn't good for me. That wasn't in my best interest. And so I see it now, even though in the moment I didn't see it, I didn't understand why, but so by withholding a treat from your dog, human food that they're not supposed to have, by withholding that, your dog thinks that you're being cruel, but you're doing it out of love for your dog. We have our dog's best interest. Just like something has our best interest, and I believe is doing it out of a place, withholding things or something. Maybe there's things that are being withheld, or things that you think that you want but actually aren't in your best interest, and that is out of a place of love, that you're not getting what you think that you want or something. I'm grateful that I didn't get what I thought that I wanted, and sometimes we don't always know what's good for us either. Even though, like I said, in the moment, it might not feel that way, you might not understand. But so if you're somebody who just thinks about things negatively or tends to think about things negatively or see the glass as half empty, I would just literally try to not do that, and just try for like a week and see. I would say even try for like a month. Try for like a month and just see, how you feel differently. And it's a lot about consistency, too. Like being consistent in your thought patterns. And I notice like when like negative thoughts come up the most, it seems to be when I'm alone, not listening to anything, not listening to music, not listening to TV, and that seems to be when I notice negative thoughts just like naturally wanting to surface for some reason. And that's a good time to challenge yourself to, shift how you're thinking. And I've been trying to do that too. Trying to not just listen to TV and shows all the time, shows and whatever, like as background noise all the time, and be with myself and like with my thoughts fully while I'm drawing or doing whatever. And what's the word? Denying the negative thoughts, like just denying them, like not allowing them, not allowing to start getting wrapped up in them, and to start ruminating. It seems that, when we're just alone with our thoughts, that's like when the negative thoughts want to come up. And I just have to not let them. I just have to not accept that. But like, no, I want to focus on positive things instead. And also, a good way would be to meditate. Because when you're meditating, you're literally just like being with yourself. So that's like a really good time to practice. That's a really good time to practice letting your thoughts just go down the river. That's what I imagine. When a thought comes up, I watch it go down the river and just flow away from me, and instead of just ruminating on it. But there's different ways you can like imagine that, like a cloud passing you by and you're watching it just pass you by. So thank you for watching, and please, if you enjoy what I have to say, I would appreciate if you would give this video a like and subscribe.